97th and Columbus. It's been about 30 years, 33 years since I've been here. Again, coming from the middle of New York, walking all the way down to Times Square is how I associated these blocks, these street numbers with years, and how in between the years 1990, which my aunt lived on 90th, and 96 is where the last place I lived in New York, with the year 96 considering Columbus in itself. And this is what made me look back in this time and place. Now I'm gonna walk from here down to the obelisk, because it was in 96 that the images of the pyramid came to me. And when I ended up going to Egypt after the dollar bill appeared, showing the new world of the billboard with the world in reverse, referring back to New York, Columbus and 96th Street. Of course, this wasn't here. This is all new here for 30 years ago. But this was the place that all things took place at. Walked down this street many times between here and my aunt's place. On 96th Street, West 90th Street. She was between Columbus and Central Park. All type of new construction here. Never thought about it. This is a place that lived in New York. I said this is where I want to live or stay. Okay, this was the spot. Central Park is just a block over. Walk down here, restaurants. It's quiet at night. I'm sure it still is as it was before. But I've been coming out here since I was a little kid. As long as I can remember, let's say that. But at that time, when I was a child, I couldn't roam the streets. We would go to Central Park from West 90th.
I'm like this.
So we're gonna walk from West 96, West 90th, where my aunt was staying. And that is not long from West 90th, going to Central Park, down to 81st. And the Museum of Modern Art is where the obelisk stood. Where the obelisk itself, going back 3,500 years to the 18th dynasty, Tutmosis III, and how all that was connected to the experience of 1996 with the faces of King Tut, creating the triangle, creating the pyramid, the Great Pyramid, because they are from the first or the same dynasty, bringing me back to this point in time and place. Not just to say I gotta look at obelisks, but I've actually been to Egypt and seen everything for myself, because it was including the houses, which it was 89 that when I purchased the first houses that created the Belt of Orion, which 8990, and all of this took place in Orlando, but referred a reference back to New York, where I was born and raised. So this is the place that the experience kept referring me to. going back in time. 96, 95, 94, 93, 92. It's coming up. And again, that was back in 1981, 33 years. The 33. This is August 23rd, 33. What we got? The 33rd degrees, right? 33 years. What brought me to this point at this time, at specific location right now? What opportunity led to that? Because it wasn't just by my just deciding to do it. There was things that had to line up in order for me to be here 33 years later in this place. I've been in New York a few times, passed through, but never was able to stop and take the time to do this or go back and see a place I can pass and say, oh yeah, this is where I was at. But not like this. So in 91, and only 6.5 minutes into it. So it wasn't a long walk between my friend and where his mother lived and where eventually I got the opportunity to stay after high school and experienced living in Manhattan. Short period of time, but lovely. This store's still here. I came down here many a times with my aunt, my uncle, after being sent to the store to get something to eat or to drink because it was right around the corner. But this little pasta place wasn't here then. But here we are on 90th, West 90th Street in Columbus. What is this? Henry J. Brown Boulevard. Now we're going to make the left here, going down to where I remember, and not exactly to the exact building, but this is where my aunt lived, Aunt Alice, who I have a cousin named Linda, looks exactly like her. My Aunt Alice passed away in the early 90s, which I believe was actually 1990, if I'm not mistaken, 91, when she passed away. But I used to love to come visit her because she lived up and had a on the fourth story. And this was the place I wanted to live. Lo and behold, there's a townhouse for sale. But this was it. I can't pinpoint exactly which one she lived in, but I know she lived on the fourth tier, and we were able to listen to the horses as they walked down the street. This is it. This was my first step into New York City as a child. Could have been this building. I think it might have been this one. I think it's 47. I think it was this one she lived in. And matter of fact, we used to sit out in the window open and listen to people walking down the street, people riding horses down the street. And it was even stopping from that point of 96th and here hasn't been 10 minutes. Well, this is the part. This is the place. At that time, it was, they say, my favorite place in the world. How you doing? See, it's not like people say in New York, they walk by, people don't speak, but it's not like that. How you doing? It's not at all. So it wasn't nothing but a hop, skip, and a jump. And we were from my aunt's house, walking the dog, which was a German Shepherd that was from the first litter of my German Shepherd. And his name was Lucky. And before we know it, whenever we got to my aunt's house, we couldn't wait to be able to go out and walk Lucky so that we can go into Central Park, which was right here, right on the corner. So Central Park was a place that was just basically a big playground as far as I was concerned. Here we are, West 90th in Central Park. Now I'm going to go into Central Park and make my way over to the obelisk, where I would do another film or another taping explaining some things.